Picture a doctor who has done more than 2,000 colonoscopies. Give her an AI tool that flags every polyp she might miss, and then take that tool away 6 months later, and she's worse at finding polyps than she was before she ever touched the AI software. That is not a hypothetical. That is a research study just out where endoscopists who relied on an AI detection tool for months saw their unassisted success rate drop from 28.4% down to 22.4%. These weren't beginners. Every one of them had thousands of procedures behind them, and their performance with the tool looked strong the entire time. But it turns out the doctors already sensed that perhaps their skills were decaying. This is also supported in a survey that was run by Ipsos, which found that 77% of physicians and 70% of nurses worry about losing their skills to AI. Given what the endoscopy study found, they are worried for a good reason. Physician use of these tools has tripled in a single year, climbing from 10% to 38%. Here's the part that should concern every leader, not just hospital administrators. While the tool is switched on, output looks great. Sometimes it looks even better than ever because of the AI. The gap in ability, however, only shows up the moment the tool goes away. And by then, you're finding out perhaps in the worst possible circumstance instead of a controlled study. So here's the real question sitting underneath this research. What capability is quietly eroding inside your own organization right now or with your team, while every dashboard you're looking at still says everything's looking fine and maybe better than ever? Most leaders have no way to answer that because nothing they measure today would really catch it. The pattern's not limited to medicine. Microsoft's CEO confirmed in 2025 that roughly 30% of the company's software code is now being generated by AI. And engineers are being pushed to route even more of their work through these AI tools. Every repetition you hand to a machine is a repetition the person doesn't get to practice themselves. Skill is built through repetition, and when those reps disappear, the skill fades no matter how senior the person is. There's a second problem sitting underneath the first one, and it's arguably a bit worse. Expertise gets built over years of doing work, sometimes routine work. The exact work AI is absorbing right now first. Think about what that means 10 years out. The entry-level rung is where junior people used to log those repetitions in that routine work that eventually turn into mid-level and then senior level judgment. Cut that rung today, the early career workers and entry-level workers, and there's no senior person in 10 years who's done that work enough times to catch the machine when it's confidently wrong, because AI sounds pretty confident most of the time. The field of aviation lived through this exact pattern decades ago, and there's something to be learned here. They gave it a name, automation dependency. As autopilot took on more of the flying, pilots' hand flying skills quietly decayed. The FAA now tells pilots to switch off the automation and hand fly on a regular basis because a skill nobody practices is a skill that's already fading. So here's what I would encourage you to do with your own team this week. Start by scheduling unassisted repetitions. Pick a handful of core tasks that your people had performed and maybe AI is doing it today, and have your people do them and test out whether or not they're staying sharp. Then prepare for AI downtime. Track how your team performs when the tool's not available, and make sure someone actually knows how to step in if things go offline for an hour, a day, or longer. Then protect your entry-level roles. Don't let AI erase all the jobs where junior people used to build judgment that now the machines are just doing. You need to build judgment to catch the machine's mistakes years down the road. The capabilities your team stops exercising today is a capability your team is choosing really to lose. Nobody signs off on that decision in a meeting. It really just happens quietly while the output numbers might keep climbing in that dashboard. The doctors in the study I mentioned didn't lose their edge because they got lazy. They lost it because the system stopped asking them to use it. That is part of every leader deploying AI now. It's not a technology problem, it's a design problem, and it's one you can actually build a fix for before you need it. That's the reframe, so you can leapfrog the headlines, your leadership, and your business. Subscribe so you don't miss the next one, and find me at sorenkaplan.com.